Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton of the New Warehouse Podcast. We're here at ProMat 2019 in Chicago. And we are at the Yale booth, and we're going to talk to Mick McCormick. He is in charge of the robotics and automation side of Yale. He's going to give us a little overview of Yale itself, and then he's going to dive into his branch, which is the robotics and automation. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what we have going on here in the booth and what we're showcasing at ProMat. So Mick, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about Yale and then a little bit about your side of Yale as well.
So Yale's one of the global leaders in the lift truck industry, starting out in North America quite a while ago, and has expanded since then overseas with a very strong presence in the European theater, as well as a presence in the Japan, Asia Pacific, India, and China area, with a recent acquisition in China of a sister brand manufactured out of mainland China. So it's got a long history, very strong reputation in the Class 3, which would be your horizontal transportation, pallet trucks, things of that nature, and your sit-down counterbalanced. And a number of years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, it became obvious to us through some customer research and seeing long-term hard trends that were affecting the industry that the need to start moving into automation, maybe not necessarily full-bore automation, but the need to increase the productivity of the equipment that our customer base was using. That customer base being either manufacturing or distribution, but they needed something to really amp up the productivity of labor. And 5% or 10% faster hydraulics or travel speed wasn't really going to give them the impact that they wanted. Recognizing that, we embarked on it's been a pretty long journey now, but we embarked on a journey to start looking at how we could automate our equipment to have it work either independently of operators or actually work in conjunction with the labor in the facilities to really get more out of them, kind of elevate their value add to the company and get a really noticeable improvement in labor productivity. And we really started that with our horizontal pallet trucks, where Yale had a really strong presence, looking at tow tractors, single and double pallet trucks, very common in the distribution and grocery industry, and then counterbalance stackers. Wherever you go, as soon as people see something like this, they instantly want to be able to move a pallet either from the floor to a conveyor or 1 or 2 levels up. So we did that from a commercial standpoint, sales, install, and commissioning about 4 years ago. And we've learned a tremendous amount about what's unique in selling a system, a project instead of a product, and getting a local distribution channel able to handle that kind of sale, which can take quite a bit of time to install, and your service approach has to be a little bit nuanced, a little bit unique as compared to a manually driven forklift. And as we were doing this, we had some strategic customers come up to us and say, we really need that next step. Yeah. We really need to look at not just the horizontal transportation, but how do we deal with unemployment that in North America is substantially low, 5-decade low, and you have a huge churn in forklift operators, things of that nature. how do we move up into some of the vertical lift opportunities and really make that next big step. And so here at ProMat at this show, we actually announced some commercial activities we've been doing for just over a year by announcing a off the production line, normal standard double deep pantograph reach truck.
Okay.
Only it's dual mode. So you go up to it, and that's that racket in the background. That's the truck. It's been running practically nonstop here for 3 days. But once you turn the switch, our technology partner, a company called JBT, who's been in AGVs for a number of decades, they take over. And they're driving the truck throughout the distribution or a production end of line into distribution environment, dramatically reducing the dependence on finding labor that may not exist. So I don't think I've let you ask me a single question. So I'm going to get off my soapbox
for
for
a ton
1
of information.
minute,
So you're answering a lot of my questions
and
already.
away we go. So I'll pause to breathe, and you ask.
Sure, yeah. So when you're just talking about you toggle it on to automation, right? So does that mean that you can use this machine now as an operator, but then you can also, when you don't have an operator available, switch it on to be automated?
Exactly. So it's a some people call it a hybrid, some people call it a dual mode. Yeah. It's truly a two-function type operation. So all the I'm pointing at it, so of course your listeners can't see what I'm doing.
Yes, but we'll have photos and videos online.
Yeah. So. Oh, excellent. So all the equipment that you use to go up and evaluate if it has an exception or it has an alarm, like you just heard right there, all that actually pivots out of the way. And there's a key switch, and as soon as you click that key switch to manual, it turns off all the automatic functions.
Okay.
You step on it, it acts just like the normal reach truck, which of course your users or your listeners also can't see, which is sitting right there.
Yeah.
And it's the completely normal configuration. It just had some HMIs that have pivoted out of the way. So it's truly a standard off-the-line Yale double deep reach truck that's got packages, essentially kits, that we add on at the end of the line that enable that robotic function.
Interesting. So if you have an existing Yale machine, is this something that can be retrofitted?
Anything is possible, but my answer is going to be no.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, the cost of bringing it in and getting it up to current model specs is one expense. But when we put all those parts on that truck coming off the end of the line, we actually put all the mounting methods in place.
Okay.
So it's got lots of additional holes tapped in it. It's got different wiring harnesses. By the time you go through a, quote, older truck and bring it up to snuff, it's really not worth the investment to not just buy a new truck and have it coming out of the factory with a year parts and labor warranty and get that benefit also.
Okay, that's definitely good to know when you're considering upgrading your fleet. So one of the big things with, I guess, automation and robotics is about, location. So how does the machine actually know where it's going and where it's at?
Well, that's a great question, and industry's had a long history with AGVs, going back to tow lines and wire in the floor, laser triangulation, magnets. Every type of imaginable navigation system's been tried and used in some fashion. This is really taking a lot of those lessons and then applying it to a SLAM technology, which is using natural feature navigation. So we have a guidance laser, a LiDAR, that's mounted, protected at the bottom of the truck.
I see that. Is that this thing at the bottom here?
Yep.
These little beacon-looking things?
You're going to have 4 of those all the way around the truck. Sort of a dual-purpose approach there because they're also safety systems.
Yeah.
So we use that laser, and when we go into a facility, you drive not the route, but the whole facility.
Okay.
And what you're doing is you're mapping it. And you can go out on YouTube and you can see where people use drones. And they send them into buildings and the drones will map. It's a very similar idea. So this maps your whole building. And the building doesn't have to be clean or empty. After we've mapped the whole building, we'll go in and we clean the map.
Okay.
We take out everything that we wouldn't want to use as a reference.
Right.
So garbage cans, pallets that are in a position but may not be there next time.
Yeah.
Trash on the floor. People walking around, you'll catch them when you do your mapping. We wipe all them out and use those permanent features. Notably, we're looking for corners and edges that we can key off of. And we're looking not for a few, but hundreds and thousands of them.
Yeah.
So that gives us our map that's sitting in front of you. Then we lay out the road system and put in all the business rules you have about how you want the traffic patterns to work.
Okay.
So if we're interacting with normal conventional lift trucks, we want to make sure that the robot acts just like the rules tell the human operators to act.
Very interesting. So now that mapping process, so if I buy this machine and it shows up, now how long does that mapping process take? Like how long until I'm up and running?
Oh, no. That's almost like asking me, how many of your pallets could I move in an hour in your building?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Because I don't know the complexity of your operation.
Yeah, so it's
I don't
dependent
know how
on size and racking and all those type of things.
Absolutely. Okay. So the process will go pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because we're just going to drive through your building. Mm-hmm. So how long does it take you, if you got on one of your lift trucks, to drive your entire building? Maybe twice.
Okay. Yeah.
That's pretty straightforward. The cleaning can be a little more challenging because you may want to go back and do a check reference. What were we looking at here?
What was that? Yeah.
So you go through, you do some natural approaches to what you think, and we have algorithms that help clean that a little bit. You lay out a map, and then you'll basically do a test drive. Okay. So once again, that can go very fast, or it can go a lot longer than anybody would be satisfied with, especially as we get into some complex areas or very tight areas where we want to make sure we've got the accuracy necessary to drive through it.
Okay. So I'm guessing that, with the fitted system on there from JBT, you said it was?
Yeah, that's right. JBT's our partner.
All right. So does that draw more power from the battery? So do I get less uptime with the machine?
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So you know that 95% of all statistics are made up on the spot, right?
Yeah.
That being said, everything we've encountered so far without doing a specific study says that a robotic truck actually lasts, and here's the statistic made up on the spot, 10 to 15% longer than an equivalently driven manual truck.
Really?
And the reason we're seeing that is the robotic truck has a top speed of 4 or 4.25 miles an hour, and its acceleration and deceleration are very smooth.
Yeah.
When a human jumps on a truck, depending on incentive pay, the environment, what he's trying to get done, he's doing maximum deceleration, maximum deceleration. Yeah. So this is a very controlled approach to an operation, and that by its very nature is beneficial on the battery. Yeah. So we haven't done a pure one-to-one study, so I guess what I'm saying is we know it's not worse, and our perception is it's better, maybe a lot better.
Yeah, and I imagine too, even, just thinking about it, that the automated may drive a more efficient path than an operator might.
So, and I have a history that goes back about 25 years into the AGVs. And there was a rule of thumb that AGV companies used years ago when they looked at a manual operation and replacing it with a robot. And depending on the complexity, they'd go, it's 1.3 robots for every man, or it's 1.5 robots for every man. Again, the restrictions were really on travel speed, the safety systems that surrounded the equipment you were using, and the inability to work at a frantic pace in order to get something accomplished. So when we did our first few proof of concepts and our first few deployments with this, we kind of had in the back of our mind, looking at the simulations that we put in, that it was going to be in that 1.3 range. What really caught us by surprise is we thought that difference, the speed improvement of a human versus a robot, would go up for multiple locations in a rack system.
Yeah.
Well, we actually found out watching them work, not literally side by side, but in the same operation, is that a human operator is faster than a robot every time at the floor position. Humans can just engage and disengage so much faster than the robot that does it that same, I won't say plotting, but disciplined route.
Yeah.
The second position, human's not quite as fast, but still beats the robot every time.
Yeah.
The third position up there, it takes a pretty good human to beat the robot at engaging and disengaging.
Yeah, you have to be a very good
Once
operator.
we get above 3, we were faster.
Yeah.
And as we looked at it, we're like, well, it makes sense now because we're not having any of the eye trying to size it up.
Yeah.
We go in that same disciplined fashion every single time. And so we want to get a little larger sample size of studies done, but we think we're going to be closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. And then from a travel and management of the load, we might even be better.
Wow.
But we want a much larger sample size, and we want to go up pretty much as high as we can.
Yeah.
So in a few of our first locations, we're really looking at 5 and 6 bays high. But if we get up to that 7th bay, I think we're going to break that. This is faster than a human being.
Yeah.
So we're getting close.
Wow, exciting stuff. So if people want to get a demonstration or learn more about these machines, where can they do that at?
So I encourage you to instantly contact your local Yale dealer.
Okay.
They're phenomenal at customer service. Their goal in life is to make sure that you're satisfied.
Yeah.
And then from there, come to our website. We've got a whole robotics section on there, and we'd love to help you learn more about what the future holds for robotic lift trucks.
Okay, great to hear. And what's the website for Yale?
It's www.yale.com.
All right, good stuff. So we'll post all that information on our blog as well. And Mick, thank you for taking the time to talk to the New Warehouse podcast.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse podcast. I'm here at ProMat 2019 in Chicago, and I am at the White Systems booth. I'm with the president of the company, Corey Calla, and Corey's going to talk to us about White. What is White Systems, and what are they exhibiting here at ProMat? So, Corey, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having us today. We're excited to participate in your new podcast. It's really exciting to see people expanding the education in the warehousing business. So. We wish you the best of luck on your endeavor here with this podcast, and look forward to being guest speakers in the future.
Definitely.
So here at ProMat, we are exhibiting quite a few things. Our big announcement on Monday was the release of our StoreBot 2.0, which is a new product for us, which is an inserter extractor that we put on the front of as many as 36 carousels, so 12 carousels, horizontal carousels stacked 3 high. With that product, it's really a goods operator product that can deliver, a high density of product. So if you have a lot of slow-moving inventory items, it's a great product to keep those in inventory, but not have to worry about where they're stored in the space and how you get them. So in the past, we had our StoreBot 1.0 was a single column, so it would service 3 carousels that were stacked on top of each other, and it was a single column that would go up and down and extract totes or cartons from that column. What 2.0 introduces is additional axis where we can go horizontal motion and pick up additional carousels, so we can service a whole lot more inventory.
Definitely. So why don't you give us a little bit of White Systems background and what you guys are all about?
Yeah, so White Systems is over 70 years old. Been making carousels for its entirety. We're well known in the industry as reliable and durable. Many of our carousels that we've installed 30 and 40 years ago are still in operation today.
Really? Very nice.
It's one of the reasons our customers look to us. Customers have had White in the past, want to buy White again because they know the quality that comes with the White name. We still build them very similar to we did 30, 40 years ago. Same material thickness, same tolerances. It's the same product that you could buy 30 and 40 years ago on our standard carousel. So we're going to continue to do that, but we're going to put some innovation into the product that gives us some new and unique ways to use it. That will go towards some of the new markets that we see emerging in online ordering, in-store pickup, grocery delivery, urban pickup for e-com. So a lot of neat new uses for carousels, in the e-com and retail spaces.
Definitely. So what would you say to a potential customer or someone who's looking to introduce your product into their operation? What are some of the first steps that they should do to kind of assess whether that's the solution for them?
Yeah, so it really comes down to data. When we're looking at our equipment, you need to know a little bit about your SKUs, the sizes, the profile, the pick velocity of every item that you sell. Then we can take that data and we can really figure out, what's the right solution for you. The last thing we want to do is sell you something that's not useful in the operation. So we want to make sure when we crunch that data that we really have an opportunity that we're going to be able to provide value to you. So we'll actually tell you if it's not a fit. We'll say, this product isn't a fit. But it all starts with data. It all starts with that inventory data, order history. If you have order history that you can pull for us and how customers interact with your inventory, we can then right-size a material handling system to fit that. But our products are great for many different markets. We see a lot of it in manufacturing where they're either kitting, creating kits into the machine, small media storage, so like bench stock, nuts, bolts, stuff in either manufacturing or maintenance shops. We do a lot in the aerospace industry with aircraft and even some of the new self-funded rocket programs like Blue Orion and SpaceX. They're using these types of machines, to store products they're developing to enhance their space program. So a lot of neat areas where this stuff can apply. So really it comes down to assessing what you need to store, how it needs to be stored, and then really what does the future look like? Are you going to be expanding inventory? How quickly is inventory going to be turning? So there's a lot that goes into just understanding to make sure it's the right application for what you're trying to do.
Okay. So now what about, they decide, yes, they want the product. So now what about implementation? What does implementation look like?
As far as implementation, implementations, for us is fairly easy on the mechanical side of the business. These are like big erector sets, so everything's thought through beforehand. When it gets there, it's queued in the order in the truck of how it's going to get assembled. We build the skeleton with the drive ends. Typically, we get it working and then we skin it. So it's a pretty fast process. I've seen fairly large, carousels go in overnight and be ready to run in the morning. So that's really humping. But there are times when the customer demands that. But most of the time it's a 2 or 3 day implementation. Where it can get longer or shorter is if you have a lot of software involved. Is there software for, some processes that you're automating or tying in integration with an ERP system, a WMS system? How deep do we have to play in the other pieces of equipment around it can also drive a lot of that as well.
Okay, interesting. So what about, you have 2 different implementations, I guess, in a brand new empty building, right?
Sure.
Probably the easiest. But, for people that have existing systems and operations flowing, how much more complexity does that add to the implementation?
Well, it really depends. There's a couple different scenarios that we get into. One would be where there's an existing unit. So we need to either tear that unit down to put a new one in its place, or many times we're going into a building that just has run out of floor space, and they're looking to utilize that horizontal or that vertical space. That's
the only way to go is up.
The only way to go is up. Yep. So we're looking to that, to try to take that space.
Okay, definitely. So is there anything else we should know about White System?
Just that we're focused on our people. We're growing our team. We want to get the right people in place that have the passion for the business and want to help our customers. What's that?
You're hiring.
We're always hiring.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
always
to know.
hiring. Always looking for skill sets. Again, I hire for passion. I look for people that really want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out, if they have the passion, we'll figure out how to train them into the products and services that we need.
Okay, great. So if people want to find out more about White Systems, where can they go?
A couple different websites you can go to. Our parent company, SencorpWhite. So if you go to www.SencorpWhite.com, you'll find some links to our content there. Also, you can go straight to www.whitesystems.com.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for your time, Corey, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the ProMat show.
Thanks, Kevin. Best of luck.
Hey guys, it's Kevin from the New Warehouse Podcast. We're back at ProMat 2019 in Chicago, powered by MHI, and we are at the Impinj booth. We're going to talk to Jason about Impinj and what is it they do. They're involved with RFID. He's going to give us a little more detail about that and also what they're exhibiting here at ProMat. So Jason, thanks for talking to us today.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us, I guess, what is Impinj and what does Impinj do?
Great. So Impinj is a RAIN RFID technology company. We're based out of Seattle.
Okay.
And we're exclusively focused on RAIN RFID. And so what we do is our vision is to connect physical items to applications.
All right.
And we do that with RAIN RFID. And this is radio frequency identification. And RAIN RFID is really the term that we use for the technology. It's an alliance. A RAIN alliance started RAIN RFID, and it's really all about the passive RFID Gen 2 protocol. And what we do is we develop and manufacture the tiny microchips that go onto the RFID tags. We also develop and manufacture the readers that read those tags.
Okay.
And then we also have a software layer that basically goes and is the operating system, if you will, of basically aggregating that read event data into system of records. And so those three layers we really call our platform.
Yeah.
We're really a platform company, and that's really the focus of how we really take this technology and bring it to industries like supply chain and logistics.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so it sounds like you kind of do the full suite of RFID implementation, so like everything you kind of need to make that happen, right?
That's right. But I do want to stress that we are a technology company, and we work through partners to deploy and deliver this technology. And we have a large global partner ecosystem that allows us to do that.
Okay. So what are some of the, for our listeners that maybe have not dealt with RFID, what are some of the benefits to implementing it into your operation?
So, when you take a look at the focus on Industry 4.0 and IoT and the whole, common theme of automation, there's been a lot of focus on automation around, equipment and, conveyance and just really trying to, if you think about manufacturing, assembling items. But one of the things that can get lost in the supply chain is products are going from raw material to being consumed by the consumer is the flow of those items as they're going through the supply chain. Being able to, in real time, capture where they are, what their identity is, what their location is, and really in some cases authentication. Because as you know, it's very important to know that products are truly what they are. There's a large gray market out there. So really, we really see identification, location, and authentication as the key elements of tracking those physical items in real time. And so really where we see it is it's part of the automation story, quite honestly, in Industry 4.0 is where are those items? Being able to know where they are in real time allows for correct inventory, knowing where they are, and with the if you just take this simple fact of same-day delivery that Amazon is driving to,
Yes,
you can imagine how important it is to know where your goods are in real time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think, there's so much question sometimes. My background actually is I'm inventory control manager in distribution center. So keeping track of inventory is a big deal in that area, right? So the ability to utilize RFID, and what I've heard from the industry is that you can even do a full physical inventory, like sitting at your desk, basically, which is huge leaps and bounds compared to inventory in the past. So I think it's really beneficial to do that, and I think your counterpart Jill was telling me even you can utilize it as pallets or product moves onto the truck, it actually can fully function and show you that it's in the truck and do what you need to do instead of having the operator come off and scan it.
That's right.
To put it in, yeah. So really great stuff. So what are you guys actually exhibiting here at the booth? What are we showing off?
Yeah, so what we're showing is obviously we have some content and video on some of our video screens showing our technology in action.
Yeah.
But really, we also have two demonstrations. We have first we start with the encoding of the tag, and we have one of our partners, Lexmark, the printer company that actually has the only color laser printer that can also encode RFID in the market today.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So, and where that really comes in is there's a lot of use cases where in the supply chain they want a full 8.5 by 11 color, say a pallet placard or an LPN that goes on a pallet, but they also want an RFID tag that's encoded.
Yeah.
And today, unfortunately, what you have to do is you have to have a different encoding RFID 4x6 label and then attach it to an 8.5 by 11 pallet placard. Well, the problem is that the human readable part of the pallet placard doesn't always match what's encoded.
Yeah.
With the Lexmark device, because it's all in the print stream, there's no way to mix it up.
Pair it together, yeah. Wow, that's really smart, yeah.
The other thing that we're showing is, and this is really what we're seeing a lot of customers coming to us with, is it's really trying to drive accuracy and efficiency at the dock door. And you mentioned it a minute ago. And we actually have a demonstration of what we consider really the new approach to RAIN RFID, and that's where we're moving from very hardware-centric approach to the dock door to a software-driven approach. And you still have readers right around the dock door, but we actually have smart algorithms in our software layer that can go and detect direction. So if you can imagine at a dock door, you want to know, is it going into the trailer or is it coming out of the trailer? And that's exactly what our technology can do. So by taking some of our gateway readers, whether it be side-by-side or overhead offset, all it takes is one power over Ethernet connector, and everything else happens. It's really good. And if you looked at that same embodiment for traditional RAIN RFID, you would have a reader with cabled out antennas, and you really couldn't sense detection without a photo eye or some other technology. So this is just very efficient to deploy, and it also means future accuracy. A lot of clients that come to us say, look, I'm looking to buy something that'll last for the next 10 years because I don't want to have to rip and replace when technology gets better.
Definitely, yeah.
And with a software-defined approach to that, you can upgrade the software for, additional capability and accuracy without rip and replace.
That's great to know, too, yeah, because a lot of this technology is happening so fast now, and you see, should I implement now, or should I wait, or what should I do? So the fact that it upgrades, as time goes on, that's really good to know. So tell me a little bit about the name, Impinj. I just learned that it stands for impacted injection, right?
That's right, yeah. It's impact injection, and it's really, Chris Diorio is our founder and CEO, and he's really the pioneer of a lot of the technology that you see in the industry with RAIN RFID. And there's a process that's involved in that impact injection that's really formed the silicon-based technology around how RAIN RFID works. So without bringing some of our PhDs to explain it any further, that's probably the way to describe it. But it is very fundamental, and I will say too that as this technology gets better and better, one of the things to be looking for too, as we've seen in the recent years, is the tag sensitivity in the microchip that's on the tag. Not only is there more capability in terms of more memory to store more information, more capability for like encryption and killing and things like that, killing of the tag and stuff like that, but there's also this sensitivity. Right now, the technology is about a 30-foot range, but the accuracy within that 30-foot range is getting better, and in the future, we're going to see longer range capability.
Definitely. Sounds great. So if people want to learn more about Impinj and the technology that you guys are creating, how can they do that?
We have a really good website at impinj.com.
Okay.
And what I recommend is, especially in the library of use cases and customer stories and solution briefs, I think that really gives a very good indicator experientially of where this technology can be used. Okay. And so whether you're looking for the shipment verification kind of application, or work in process, or asset management, there's some really good customer stories of how it's being used. And of course, there's also references to our great partners who go and make it happen.
Definitely, great. So thanks so much for talking to us on the New Warehouse podcast, Jason. So we'll post more information about Impinj and all that kind of stuff on our blog, and then you can find out more there. So thank you again, and hope you enjoyed the show.
All right, thank you.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton of the New Warehouse podcast. I'm here at ProMat 2019, and I am at the Productive Robotics booth. I'm here with Zach Bogart, and he is going to talk to us a little bit about Productive Robotics, the products that they offer, and what they are showing off at the booth here. And there are multiple robots doing a lot of different tasks here, so he's going to give us some explanation of what is going on here. So Zach, how are you?
Good, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. We're happy to talk to you and, see all the robotics that's happening at ProMat, so we're happy to get some further insight. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Productive Robotics and what is it that you guys do?
Well, we're a spin-out company from a company that makes high-end photo printing equipment, actually. And people think that there's no similarities, but the controls required in the high-end printing equipment are actually more complicated than the robot controls, so this was kind of refreshing for us. We started in robotics actually in the 80s, doing motion picture special effects robots to move cameras for space movies and things like that. Yeah, and we went out of robotics, but sort of came back in probably 5-6 years ago, because it's kind of what we've always liked to do. So our robots are reasonably new. We've been on the market for a year and a half. We've been shipping them for a year and a half. Okay. And our robots are different in a lot of ways, but the most important way is that there's no programming associated with our robots. They're just taught. So we show the robot where to go and what to do, and it learns from what we show it. It doesn't do exactly what we tell it, repeat exactly the way we tell it to do it. It optimizes what we show it, so it's more efficient. So you kind of teach the robot what it needs to do, and then the robot maybe teaches you how to do it a little better. Sometimes, sometimes in fact that's true. So we have 3 models of robots. 5-kilogram robot that has a reach of 1 meter. Okay. And we have a 12-kilogram robot. That means it lifts 12 kilograms with a reach of 1.3 meters. And then we have the longer reach robot, which is a 1.7 kilogram robot, or 1.7 meter robot, and lifts 8 kilograms. And that's used primarily for large packaging applications. It can also be used for machine tending. And that's a common application for us. But the larger robots are most popular for packaging and palletizing applications. Yeah. So we have a robot in front of us here. It's actually just depalletizing a pallet and then repalletizing it to the side. And it's picking up each of the boxes. There's some multi-assorted chip boxes. Good choice. And it's repalletizing, and it's doing it very simply. Everything is right in line. The quality is really, really good. So
If somebody wants to get involved with productive robotics and they're thinking about bringing robots into their operation, what would you tell them their first step is?
Well, the first thing is we want to talk to them. We focus heavily. We have an in-house integration team, and we focus real heavily on making sure that the customer's application is something that our robots do and do well. So we're not, yes, we have people who just buy robots and don't tell us anything about what they're going to do with them, which is fine. But we really like to make sure that what the customer needs and what the customer thinks that they're going to have to do is in line with what our robots do and do well. So, and that's almost always the case, but we work closely with them to make sure they achieve their goals.
Okay.
So the other distinguishing factor on our robots is that there's 7 joints instead of the traditional 6. And what that does and what that allows is allows the robot to be much more flexible and maneuverable in space. It can reach where a 6-axis robot can't because it's more like a human arm. So it can reach around things. And that's less important for palletizing, but it actually affords a lot more flexibility about where the pallets go and how things are oriented. Everything doesn't have to be exactly in the right place in order to achieve
watching this one behind us here, it's actually reaching in through like a window, and then it's reaching around behind the window, right? That's kind of that flexibility you're talking about.
Yes, and this one is actually tending a milling machine.
Okay.
And to start it, rather than being all electrically interfaced to the machine, it actually just pushes the big green go button.
Yeah.
And if you watch the way, in a minute here, you'll see how it pushes the button, and you'll see that.
Oh, wow. It actually, so it's putting stuff into the machine, and then actually close the window.
Yeah, it closes the door. Now see that movement it makes?
Yeah.
Now that's a movement that you can't make with a traditional robot. Then it allows the robot to be off to one side so that it's clear of the areas where the person wants to work.
Yeah.
But it can still reach around and reach in the window to put the parts in.
Yeah. And then it actually, so on the other side I couldn't see that it actually pressed a button.
Yeah, it actually reached around and pushed the big green go button.
Oh, wow. So it's doing like the entire job, basically.
Yeah, it's doing the whole job, but it's doing it without having to automate, for example, the door or the button.
Yeah, wow. Wow. Very productive.
Yes, then from there, for packaging, so mostly in the packaging arena or in the palletizing arena, people are looking for the larger robots. But in the packaging arena, they're looking for smaller robots. And if we come down here, I can show you the packaging application. So the parts that you are looking at being put into this milling machine now will be put on this conveyor belt, and then they come down to this other robot, which will package them. So here, when this robot comes and puts in another part, in fact, I'll cheat a little bit for you, and I'll put one in myself so you can see it do it. It will come down here. This guy's playing around, actually. He's sort of putting on a little show.
Oh, he's saying hello.
And as he comes down, he'll pick up this part.
He's got a little personality.
Yeah, too much. And he'll pack it in this carton, in this bin.
Very cool.
So, in the case of this demo, we fill up the bin and then we just take it back over to the other machine. And they cycle all day long. Yeah. But it automatically figures out how to package it up into a grid and stacks all the parts up inside the bin.
Interesting. Yeah. So what we just saw as the demonstration is on the conveyor we had a metal block that came down, and as it hit the sensor, the conveyor stopped, and then the robot recognized that it was there. The robot used a suction attachment that it has on it and picked up the block and then placed it into a tote, which they have there, but which could very easily be your packaging carton as well, right?
Packaging carton or any kind of box you choose.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, so we just got one down the conveyor as well from the other robot that passed it on. Very interesting.
And then here it's lining them up in a nice grid package.
Yeah.
And then stacking them up 3 or 4 layers deep, and then this one will be finished. It'll switch now to the other tote and fill it up next.
Okay. So you never really have like a down one, so you always have one to go to.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It'll just take the fill one, put a new fresh empty one there, and then it'll fill it up.
Very interesting. So ProMat, if you look around at ProMat this year, everything is like robots, automation. So what do you think is really the future of the industry in terms of robotics and automation, and where do you think we're heading from here?
Well, we're headed towards simpler. Yeah. And well, at least we should be headed towards simpler.
Yeah.
So what we have going on, and we see it across the country, is we've got a tremendous skills gap between what is required to operate and run this new automation that's becoming less and less expensive, and the skills and the capabilities of the people who are in manufacturing in the United States.
Yeah.
Automation manufacturers are working very hard to make their products, and this is robots and other automation, make it easier to program. Yeah. But the problem is it's still programming, and it's beyond the capability of most of the people in working in manufacturing today. Yeah. So we either need a heck of a lot of retraining all across the manufacturing industry, which is unlikely to happen anytime soon, or we need to make the robots simpler and not requiring programming. And that's our focus, is we don't require programming with our robots. We teach them, and anybody who doesn't know anything about programming can show the robot what to do, and the robot will learn what to do and then follow it.
Okay. So how does that teaching process actually work? How does that
Well, I can show you a little bit over here. Sure. I don't know your listeners aren't going to be able to see it.
Well, we can describe it.
But we'll describe it. So we have two ways of teaching.
Okay. So the robot was actually moving, doing something, and then Zach just grabbed it, and now he's going to teach it.
Yeah. So these are collaborative robots, which means you can easily just reach out and touch them and stop them.
Okay. And then they
recognize that they bumped into something, and when they bump into something, which in this case was me, they stop.
Okay.
And that's different from traditional industrial robots, which are in cages to keep, because they're strong and powerful and fast, and they don't have any senses, so they can't tell when somebody gets in the way, and they'll just ram right into you. So they must be kept isolated in cages. So for our teaching of our robot, we've taken all the programming away, and we have a simple tablet, and it only has two functions. It can learn and it can work.
Very lean.
So we press the learn button, and we tell it we want to learn a new job, and we just show the robot what to do. So in this case, we demonstrate with this one little part, because it's easy here. And we move the robot over to the part.
Okay.
Push the button to pick up the part. The robot figures, okay, I've grabbed something, so he must be wanting to move it. Mm-hmm. And we put the part up. We can move it somewhere, put it back down again. Okay, and when we put it down, I'll just drop it. It's done. That's all it takes to teach it. Wow. So we can just say...
very quick.
So we can just say work and go. And the robot goes. It'll go over. It'll pick up the part. Move it where we put it.
And then just drop it.
Put it down.
Interesting.
Okay. No, that was the hard way.
That was the hard way.
That was the hard way.
Less than a minute.
Yeah, you want to see the easy way?
Sure.
I'll show you the easy way. The easy way is that the robot has vision built into it.
Really?
So it can actually see the parts.
Okay.
So the easy way is we tell it we want it to learn, and we want to learn a new part, and we literally just push one button. It sees the part.
Oh, yeah. So on the screen here, we actually can see what the robot is doing. Yep. And it's telling it what to do.
And it picks up the part.
Okay.
Now it's learned the part. It's in one button push. It learns what it needs to pick up, and it goes and it picks it up. And then we can now move the part, put it wherever it is that we need it to go. And what I normally do for demonstration purposes is I like to drop the part so that it bounces and ends up in some random position that the robot has to figure out how to pick it up. So we'll do that right now. We'll drop the part.
All right.
And now it's all ready to go. I just say work and go. And we'll come in here. It'll identify the part. It'll find it.
Yeah, it sees it.
We'll pick it up.
Very quick.
Show it to us. Move it. Drop it on the table again.
Drop it just like you dropped.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it recognizes the part.
Yeah.
So, for example, if instead of it seeing the part, it sees something different, in this case my phone.
Okay. So we swapped the little pipe for Zach's phone.
And you'll see it'll say looking for the object. It'll complain because it's obviously my phone is a great deal bigger or different than the pipe. Yeah. So I'll put the pipe fitting back down. Now it's happy. It'll go back and pick that up.
Yeah. So we swapped it, and like within a millisecond, it recognized right away that the right object was back in there. Yep. And it grabbed it.
Went and picked it up.
Pretty incredible.
So this is the easy way. And sometimes it'll see the object. It's the same object, but you see it'll see it's in a different pose here where it's standing up because it happened to fall that way, and it knows it's not allowed to pick it up that way. It has to pick it up from the side. Okay. So if I tip it over, it'll come over and it'll find it on its side and pick it up.
Oh, okay, very interesting. Wow, very cool stuff, Zach. So if people want to find out more about productive robotics, how can they do that?
You can call us. Okay. We're happy to talk to you. That's what we're here for. You can look at our website, which is productiverobotics.com. Okay. And we have a full in-house integration team, and their sole job is to help customers figure out how to do what it is they need to do.
Really?
So you call us up, tell us about what you want to do. Often people will send us a short video that you take with your phone of what you want to do, and from that we can often tell. We can tell you how to do the job and help you get it sorted out. That's what we do.
Cool. Thanks so much for your time, Zach, and thanks for talking to the New Warehouse podcast.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast. We are back at ProMat 2019, and we are at JLT Computers booth, and we're going to talk to Matt Mearsman. He's going to talk to us about JLT, what they do, what they offer, and what they're exhibiting today at ProMat. So Matt, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what JLT does and what you guys offer?
Well, at JLT, our core competency has been in rugged mobile computers. So over 25 years, we've been building computers that last in environments that aren't standard uses. A lot of dust, a lot of moisture. Might be really cold, might be really hot. Might be that users are not pure technical people. Right? So we need to make them easy to use, make sure that they work every day to deliver productivity in whether it be a warehouse or a port, different environments that are usually harsh environmentally. Yeah. And so we've been doing it for a long time, and we've become very good at it, whether it be in Windows or in Android, and that's what we're talking about today. So we are listening to what customers' applications are, what their needs are, and how we can help them deliver productivity, make sure users come in, do the job every day without having to wait on a device to get the job done.
Okay, great. So are you guys actually, are you outfitting existing computers, or you're providing the whole computer system?
Well, so what we do computers in two forms, right? So some are truly meant to be mounted on a forklift, and that's their use case. So it would be mounted. We will, whether it be Android or Windows, we help customers load their applications, make sure that the applications focused on the productivity of the employee. It boots and it does the job, stays connected to the network. It's really important as forklifts are moving quickly around and jumping access point to access point. Staying online is crucial to delivering the data back to the business and good for the user experience. At the same time, we also do handhelds that are fully mobile. So this would not be running off the power of the forklift. It'll be an all-day battery life device where they can scan, grab data, and transfer it back to their applications.
Okay, yeah, great. So I think you touched on something interesting, because I think when people think about rugged computers, they think more about stuff that might fall and get impact. But you touched on dust and you touched on temperature as well. So how do you protect those computers, I guess, from those colder storage environments?
That's a good question. So because our business started in Sweden and in the forestry business, and what do you have in forestry? You have moisture that would come from the trees. You have some very cold temperatures. So very early on, years back, 25 years ago when our business started, we learned how to manage cold environments. At the same time, when you build a rugged computer, we figured out that you need to have a fully sealed device with no fans, no moving parts, and use industrial components that survive the shaking. So when we say shock, we're talking about a physical shaking of the environment, not necessarily electrical. But you also have to manage the electrical part of it as well. So this has been a core competency of ours, right? For 25 years, we've focused on that piece. Now, then you have to fully seal the device. So that means sealing ratings. Most of our stuff would be IP65 or 66, meaning no dust is going to get into your device, which will help the components inside. The second number, 6 or 65, 5 or 6, will say that it can be out in the rain or a driving rain or a pressure washer, depending on the environment. So if you're in a food storage, they might need to wash it down, and that pressure spray is going to be important to them. If it's on a forklift, it might just need to take a driving rein from the top.
Yeah.
We can handle both of those environments.
Interesting. So it sounds like these things can handle pretty much anywhere you put them.
We talk to our customers about their use cases,
yeah.
and we make sure we deliver the right device. But if they have a end user set
yeah.
that is not going to be easy on them, and they want them to last for more than a year, right? So
Definitely.
Our objective is to get these devices into the user's hand, and they use them for 5 to 7 years. So they are out there doing the job every day. Stay on the network, be productive, be there ready for the employee when the employee is ready to work. And not just not slow them down, but increase productivity. Get rid of the paper
yeah.
and let them deliver accurate data reliably to the business securely.
So now, if someone decides that they want to move, I guess, from their current devices to these rugged devices from JLT, now will they integrate with all the current systems that they're utilizing?
It's a good question. So, being that we started on Windows, we started with Windows
yeah.
XP, turned into Windows 7, we've learned how to lock those operating systems down to focus on them just doing the job. At the same time,
yeah.
it's just Windows 10.
Okay.
So companies that are used to using Windows 10, and I can say the same thing about Android, if they know what they're doing, they've deployed these before,
yeah.
then if I start with a Windows 10 device, it's just a Windows 10. They know how to load their applications. They're all going to work. If they worked in the back office, they're going to work on the forklift.
Got it. Okay.
Same true for an Android. If they've got a phone today and it's running an Android app,
yeah.
it will just load onto our device. At the same time, there's other things that companies are really worried about. They're worried about security. And we can help them with that on a Windows 10 device and how to lock it down. If they're worried about it on Android, which they should be, right, as all companies are trying to protect these mobile devices, there are companies out there that do a really nice job that we've partnered with, have strategic relationships with, like Sodi,
yeah.
that we can load a Sodi client on and then
okay.
fully lock down the app. If the device walks off a property, we can use Sodi to find it and recover it.
Oh, okay. That's really good, yeah, because sometimes those things, even you may think they're not so useful to people out there, but they still like to take them.
Well, if funny things happen in a warehouse, you're using a handheld, you're packing up a box, and oops, the scanner ended up in the box.
So
and all of a sudden, next time it comes online, it's in a state next door. Well, then at least you know which customer you shipped it to,
yeah.
and you can get it back. And funny things like that happen in the warehouse all the time.
Yeah.
We're here to help our customers with it.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the rugged devices are so helpful because, my background is as warehouse manager, and, I've seen people using a pallet as a desk real quick, and something happens, and that laptop accidentally falls off and hits the floor, and everybody around just kind of goes, oh my God.
It's true. Well, so accidents do happen.
Yes.
Our devices are very rugged. But I would say the other piece that's special about JLT is when accidents do happen, we sell our device. Our devices come with 3-year warranty.
Okay.
But things that I ran over it with the forklift that might not be covered, we have a warranty for that. And we can cover them for 3 years, some of them for 5 years. And they ship them to one of our multiple service locations. We'll get it fixed and back out the door in 3 days. If it needs to be replaced, then it needs to be replaced. Yeah. And we'll do that inside the warranty. So we can do that globally. Here in the U.S., we've got locations in Europe and Asia Pacific that we can fix our products and get them back into customers' hands, manage them through a hot swap program. So if we keep a couple of their devices and one happens to go down, ship one out overnight so they get it the next day. And then we'll take the one back when they get a chance, fix it, put it on the shelf and be ready for them. Maybe they want to keep the hot spares on their own site just to make sure that the team stays productive.
Interesting. So what are you guys actually exhibiting here? What are you showcasing?
So today we're focused on a few things, right? So our vehicle mount computers, we came out with a new one last year. It's called the 6012. Okay. It is a true fixed mount computer that will run Android or Windows, same device, Intel architecture, but designed for Android. What's special about it is it's got a power touch screen is what we called it. It is projective capacitive, extremely rugged. It can take a hit bigger than most computers in the marketplace today, and it just survives. It's also important that since it's projective capacitive, you don't have to recalibrate it, which anybody who's used a resistive touchscreen is familiar with the pain of, I just can't get to that corner spot that I wanted to. That problem goes away. It can get wet and you can use gloves on the same device. So this is very different technology compared to your phone. Once it gets wet, it doesn't work, or you're wearing gloves, it doesn't work.
Yeah, we have to have specialized
specialized technology in our screen that we've invested in, as well as dual diversity antenna, backup battery, all the things that our customers want, and we deliver a 12-inch screen in the same form factor externally that most of our competitors would do a 10-inch, right? So that they need a lot of housing around it.
Yeah.
With our design and the design that we've been using for years, we're able to make a small form factor, which is good for the operator, but still give them a nice screen real estate for them to interact with.
Yeah.
So that is from our fixed mount. And then we have from our mobility platform both Windows and Android in multiple form factors, 10, 7, 5-inch, that have scanners built in. They can walk around, scan their products, take in inventory, ship inventory with the built-in scanner, or if they need long range, then we would plug one in.
Yeah.
But it gives them the ability to walk around all day, the tablet, computer, and then if they want to mount it on a forklift, we've got that dock. All of the accessories are ready to go. They could now use that as a forklift-mounted computer as well.
Wow, that's great. So if people are interested in JLT and exploring the options for their operation, how would they go about doing that?
Well, so we'd love for us to visit us at JLT Mobile Computers, and if they get on our website, they will see it. There's a contact form, which is the easiest way to do it. So if they go to JLT Mobile Computers, click on the contact button, we will have a representative get right back to them. We take a lot of pride in what we call as our high-touch model. We will go on site. We'll understand their business. It's not just, here's a computer, I hope it works for you. That's not what we do. We go in, we understand it. How do you use it? We'll make a good recommendation. If they've got a business partner that they like to do business with, then we'll make sure that we engage them and add new partners to our list. We've got a great set of partners at JLT that we work with today.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming on the New Warehouse podcast and talking to us about JLT Computers.
Thanks for your time. I sure do appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi guys, this is Kevin at ProMat 2019 in Chicago. I am at the Unex booth, and we are going to talk to Ryan, who is a regional sales manager for Unex. He's going to tell us a little bit about Unex and what they're exhibiting here today and what the company is all about. So Ryan, welcome to the show. Thanks for talking to us.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you having me. So I'll just kind of get right into it. Unex is a 54-year-old family-owned company. We make carton flow as one of our main product lines, which is used in the warehouse industry as well as the manufacturing industry. We make flow racking. We make a product called Speed Cell, which is a high-density storage system. We make gravity conveyor and some pallet flow as well, too. So that's a little bit about what we do there. So.
All right, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at some beautiful flow rack right behind me right here. Very nice. So what are you guys really showing off here today at the show?
Well, I mean, we've got a little bit of everything that we do here. We've got our different carton flow. We have it in different configurations, from low profile, high profile. We're showing some knuckles. We're showing our wheel bed product, our poly wheel bed. We're showing our aluminum and our steel rollers. We're showing our steel skate wheel as well. We've got our flexible conveyor and our standard roller and skate wheel gravity conveyor. We've got our Speed Cell product as well, which is a textile high-density storage product that would replace shelving, allow you to store more in a smaller footprint. We're showing some different line-side flow racks that you might see maybe more in manufacturing than you would in warehousing, but we'll sell a lot of those to the auto industry and to manufacturing in general too. So we basically touch a lot of different segments of the economy, from logistics, warehousing, 3PLs, distribution, to manufacturing, assembly plants, and machining plants, and a variety of manufacturing establishments. So the good thing about us is that we do have such a wide customer base.
Yeah.
So we're not solely dependent on one portion or one application in a facility. We touch a lot of different processes in a plant or in a warehouse. So.
Okay, interesting. So what am I looking at right here? That's like these hanging white storage.
Okay, this is our speed cell product. It's high density storage. We actually just bought this company, this product a year ago that we unveiled at Modex. Yeah. So we've been at it for a year now. It's turned out to be a very popular product. It's different.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's not something you're going to see everywhere. But like I was saying before, it's basically a way to fit more stuff in a smaller footprint. We're getting up to 221 locations per bay, and we're getting, I've worked with applications where we've taken 8 bays of shelving and condensed it down to 2 bays of speed cell, just because you're talking about 3 rows and multiples of cells that you can move and get to the back. That's less walking for the pickers. It's less footprint. So, one of the things I run into when I go into a warehouse, because one thing we try to do besides just selling products is offer, our consultative advice. And one of the things I hear constantly is, what do you need? Well, we need more space. We got new lines coming in, or we're expanding our business. We're not going to get a bigger building, so we got to be able to fit more in a smaller space. So this is a great product for that, to be able to allow you to fit more in a smaller footprint. And I mean, you're talking 35 pounds per cell capacity. It doesn't really look like that. I think people are surprised when I tell them that. You're going to get up to 240 pounds of column capacity. So, it's used a lot with apparel and clothing, yes. As you can see, that's kind of what we're showing right here. Yeah. But we've also sold a lot to cell phone accessories and electronics and pharmaceuticals. And so there's a lot of different applications for this product. And I'll be honest with you, a year ago when we unveiled it, I kind of thought it would be something where people might buy a couple bays for their slow movers to condense it into a smaller space. But some of the first orders we got were $1 million orders, where they're filling up the whole warehouse with this stuff. Really? And one application was basically blue jeans, and another was cell phone accessories, and another was clothing. So we've gotten some really big orders. It's kind of common for someone to buy a bay or two, play around with it, see how well they like it, and then outfit the rest of their facility with it. So
interesting, yeah. Yeah, for you guys listening, to give you an idea kind of what it looks like, it looks almost like one of those fabric closet organizer hangers that you would hang up.
Right. It looks like, to me, when I first saw it, I was like, this looks like the shoe cubby you'd buy at Lowe's or Home Depot and put in your closet and put your shoes in it. And that's kind of what it is. It's just a more heavy-duty version of that.
Yeah. It's a pretty interesting application. I can definitely see how you can condense a lot of space into one area. I mean, you have a ton of. This is, I guess, considered one bay that you're talking about. Has 200 something.
This is actually 2 bays, and we have it. It's kind of double-sided.
Okay.
So we have, because we're trying to show the different options. We have a closed back option to your right here. We have a strap back to your left.
Okay.
We have a lip in front on the other side of this bay, and then we have the open front, as you can see right there too. So it's definitely been, as I've been talking to people stopping by the booth at the show, and people know us for the carton flow that I'm leaning on right here and the flow racks. But this has definitely been a topic of conversation here, as well as our flexible conveyor, because it's something that is new to us as well in the past 6 months or so.
Interesting. So, for people who are thinking about, they're growing, like you said, and they're looking to utilize their space more efficiently, you have a couple of different options. So how would you say someone should go about assessing, what's the best option for them?
Well, everybody's a little bit different, but then again, one of the things we bring to the table is we've seen a lot of different things too, right? So one place to start is with our slotting software, SKU. If we get the data we need as far as box sizes and throughputs and all that information, we can recommend what mediums, where to put what, how to condense everything down. We don't necessarily have to do it. That's obviously the ideal way to do that, because it can come out with the warehouse layout, with a parts list of everything you'd need, where you would put everything. But we can also come on site as well as, because we sell through distributors, so we have local people in all areas of the country that are knowledgeable of our products and knowledgeable in the industry, can come out, do a site visit, and just kind of, one of the things I try to drill down to is, what are you doing? Where's this person going? When they pick this, where are they going with it? How are you moving this stuff from here to there? Because basically, when it all boils down to it, you're trying to be ergonomic, you're trying to be efficient, you're trying to pick at faster rates with less work, with less travel. So there's a lot of different ways we can do it. And, in some cases that may be flow racks with carton flow. In other cases it may be the speed cell. And in other cases it might involve gravity conveyor or pallet track, pallet flow. So it just depends on the situation. One of the things I like about this job in this industry is you run into different things all the time. While you can use what you learned over here, over there, everything's a little bit different, right? So it keeps you on your feet, keeps you learning and growing, and so that's one of the more interesting things I think I've found as I've been in this industry about 5.5, 6 years now. So.
Okay. All right. Very cool. So, is there anything else that we should know about Unex?
No, I mean, if you haven't checked out our products, we have a lot of great information on our website, from brochures to videos to case studies. Like I said, we've got somebody like myself strategically placed throughout the country, and we have distributors all over the place. So, we don't try to sell you anything you don't need. We're just there to try to help you achieve your goals in warehousing, logistics, and manufacturing. So, we've been around for a long time, and we've got a great team behind us, great support, and so we're here to help, basically. So.
Awesome. And what's the website?
It's www.unex.com. It's UNEX, so very easy to find.
Definitely easy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for talking to the New Warehouse podcast, and we'll be posting more information about Unex when we release this episode on the blog. So thanks again,
All right.
Ryan.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
All right. Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton here with the New Warehouse podcast. We're here at ProMat 2019 in Chicago, powered by MHI. We're going to talk to Christian of Scandit. He's going to tell us about what Scandit is, what they offer, and what they're doing to help barcode scanning solutions. Christian, welcome to the show. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Yes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Scandit and what it is you guys do?
Yeah. So we founded Scandit basically on the premise that barcodes are very widespread, but the technology really hasn't changed much over the last 40 years. Mm-hmm. Initially always sort of limited to dedicated devices who are doing barcode scanning. Yes. So one of the value propositions that we provide is really the same scanning performance in terms of speed, in terms of robustness that you would get with a dedicated scanning device that you could buy from some of the established vendors with the smartphones. So you take Android smartphone, consumer-grade smartphone, maybe ruggedized, and we provide the same performance. So that's probably our basic value proposition. On top of that, we've really looked at how can we change the way barcode scanning is done today. As I said, it really hasn't changed over the last 40 years, right? So you still, 40 years ago, you pressed a button on the side of a device, turned on a laser, an aiming device, you aimed at a barcode, you scanned it, you look at the records. So we today introducing more this notion of augmented reality and matrix scanning, where we capture not one barcode at the same time, where we capture 10, 20 at the same time, and we're overlaying virtual information onto the real world.
Okay. So now is your product is actual add-on to these devices, or it's a software?
Yeah, so it's software only.
Okay.
Comes in different flavors, so it can be integrated into say warehouse management software suite. Okay. So we don't provide the warehouse management software, but we provide the data capture part of it.
Okay.
So it can be in software library that it gets integrated into an existing app. We provide what we call like a keyboard wedge, so it scans into any app on the device. Okay. It can be run in the browser. So we provide various different ways of integrating our technology.
Interesting. So it's kind of for warehousing. I mean, I'm familiar with the RF guns, the ones you're talking about. and they can be quite expensive. So utilizing possibly a cheaper solution as like an Android tablet, like you're saying, is something that you can do with your program.
Definitely, right? And you when you look at this, is what we've seen tremendous growth in CPU, GPU, and camera performance on consumer devices. So if you remember, like the first iPhones they came out, they seem kind of slow today. That's only like 10 years ago now, right? So even when you're looking at a $150 Android device, that's actually a very powerful device, and allows us today to run applications where we capture 10-20 barcodes at the same time, and overlay augmented reality. Overlay virtual information that then sort of appears like augmented reality.
Got it. Okay. So what do you see as who are your customers? Like what types of businesses are kind of implementing this?
Actually across the board. So when you look in supply chain, it starts with sort of traditional in the store applications. Okay. From retail ops to detecting, doing stock counts, reordering, building lists for things to go and fetch from the back end. So very conventional. I'd scan something, I'll add to a list, and I'll fetch things from the back room. All the way to picking applications in the stores. So we're seeing it as a growing phenomenon that people do curbside pickup. So we have customers that generate thousands of scans, actually close to 1,000 scans per day per device, picking in a retail store. Right? For consumers that order online. The same thing applies to the logistics side, so delivery logistics as well. So we have customers that for their regular employees, but also for peak time workers, use our software either on devices that they provide to their workers or on BYOD devices of contractors, and manage the proof delivery process. And that could be, just at the transaction point where a parcel is being delivered. This can be when things are being passed on to the driver to load the car. Okay. And then in the warehouse itself as well. We have applications where customers, have them deployed on I think 50 to 60,000 tablets for all sorts of tasks inside the warehouse. Where it's actually to a large degree a fully automated warehouse or fully automated warehouses, but then there's so many other processes at the edges where the fully automated solutions with conveyor belt scanning is not the only place where barcode scanning is happening or data capture is happening, but it's also for the individual employee to handle exceptions, etc.
Okay, sounds good. So it sounds like you can kind of apply it to the full range of the supply chain. So it's very versatile.
And even to the extent that this is super early stage today. We work with some companies where we are a software only business, but we work partner with companies that build drone systems, and as you know, in the warehouse, doing inventory count on a several feet high warehouse is pretty painful and expensive, right? So we also apply our technology to automatic, autonomous vehicles, drones, robots that sort of roam the aisles of supermarkets, or in case of drones, fly through the warehouse, and then inventory.
Interesting. So the drone is actually capturing the barcode as it's passing the product. Really interesting. I like that.
It's futuristic, right? So in some way, these are early stage pilots these days. But I mean, the business case is very obvious. I mean, if you just do the math on how long it takes you to do an inventory count, say on a warehouse, where and even at the not just at the pallet level that goes in there, this is also has even applications to if you're thinking about the IKEA warehouse with all the barcodes facing forward, you can even do stock counts. With a drone in that case that flies up and down the street.
Interesting, yeah, that's interesting because I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and we we're talking about with automated warehouse and automated pallet storage. How do you get somebody in there to count that product? And we were talking about drones. So they were thinking you use a drone with a camera and someone would just have to look on the camera to see. But if you can actually capture the barcode, then you can actually see what's in there.
And I think that sort of combines. What we're seeing actually is actually across the board, not just with drones, but also robots, but also on smartphones and tablets, we used to be sort of backward scanning only, but we kept getting requests from customers for additional capabilities, text recognition, image recognition, and so we enhanced our product with these capabilities. So, for example, today you can, one of the challenges we've often heard from large 3PLs and warehouse management companies, they receive items, but just arrives at the wrong warehouse because they have many warehouses from close proximity, or they arrive at the wrong gate, and that creates tremendous challenges for their in-store logistics and their inter-warehouse processes, right? And so we developed for one customer a solution where we actually reading, the labels that have like the multiple barcodes on them, especially in the automotive industry, where you have multiple barcodes identifying, the product type that goes in there, and the vendor ID and all these different things. But they also have typically text written on it that says, hey, it's this kind of product, these and these specs, and that's not barcode encoded, right? Yeah. And so the customer actually wanted to capture all of that information on that label, so that they can use that directly in their systems, because typically they just see the pallet, they see the ID, they see the shipment ID, but unless they had IT integration with the suppliers' product information systems and logistics systems, they had no idea what's in that pallet. Right? And so then when you sort of look at, if you don't look at it in the narrow sense of doing backward scanning, but you look at it more as like leverage the mobile devices as computer vision devices, then you can really sort of expand from the sort of the narrow backward scanning to text recognition, even to image recognition, or capturing images of a pallet that arrived damaged. Yeah. So you have that automatically immediately digitized.
Interesting. So then it would capture that, and then it can take it out and put it into like a report.
Yeah, report, right? And it's something that we always see, right? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't apply to all sort of data capture process, but there's always that fine balance between doing the scan, whether this is text or barcode, and I'll lose efficiency most of the time, right? But I'll do it because I want to prevent errors, right? And so it's always that balance, right? Just like when you look at, if you're shipping 600 million packages a year, and you just the process of stacking them on a pallet, and when you stack them on the pallet and you scan them, that costs you $6 million, just in manual cost of the time it takes to take your scanner gun out, scan the barcode and put it back, right? So when you look at this, there's really money on the table. If you don't do that process, the wrong parcel, packages will go onto the wrong pallet and they don't arrive at the customer, and you have an unhappy customer, right? It costs you a lot of money, right? So at the end of the day, it's a fine balance, right? And so the way we kind of looking at this is saying to help and in a fully automated warehouse, this is typically taken care of, but there's a lot of places where things aren't fully automated, right? Yeah. And so computer vision technology and sort of enhanced backward scanning can really simplify this, right? Whereas as opposed to only scanning every package that goes into that pallet, making sure that they get stacked, that the barcodes are facing outwards, afterwards the user just steps back, takes one picture with a smartphone of the entire pallet, and, with one swipe, he picks up, the 50, 60, 100 packages that are being stacked there. That really, that's not just a gimmick, but just is one cat. But it's and you get feedback what is in the wrong spot, right? So it highlights on the pallet which one in the wrong spot, and you go on the wrong pallet. So it's really about improving operational efficiency. Yeah. Less than some gadgetry about doing something on the smartphone, right? Because it's really about like providing value and finding a better compromise between that avoiding errors and efficiency, right? Which is and cost, balance, right? Yeah. This is always like it's difficult balance, right, to find, and we feel like with the technology available today and that we provide on smartphones, we can actually shift that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now since it's on smartphones, so it's similar to like an app.
So we provide exactly, right. So there's different ways of how we deploy our technology. It's for example, if you think in delivery logistics, especially with the large providers, they typically have their own apps, and we provide an SDK that gets integrated into that app of the Parcel Express logistics app, right? There's in warehouse management, typically, sometimes, providers have their own warehouse management systems, but in most cases, they'll actually run, one of the suites of warehouse management systems, right? And there's multiple approaches how we can support that. One of them is that we for some of the warehouse management systems we provide integration, so it comes pre-embedded into the mobile app of the warehouse management provider. The other approach is that we provide what we call an enterprise browser that runs the web-based warehouse management software, and then whenever there is a sort of data capture field, it will actually trigger our scan engine. So it's an integration that doesn't require any development. So you don't need to go onto your warehouse management provider and go and say, hey, can you go and change this? Because typically, that's fairly big change usually, right? So it's something that can work out of the box.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, so if people want to learn more about Scandit and find out about their products and get involved with it, how do they do that?
Yeah, just come to Scandit.com or actually check out some of our apps in the App Store. Google Google Play and Apple. We provide free demo apps that give you a feel for the scan speed that you can realize. Yeah. And then you can also reach out to us. We have sort of logistics custom apps that implement many of these workflows around augmented reality. So if someone wants to run like a quick pilot, what's the scan performance I get? Can I really pick up that label really, really high up on my shelf? Yeah. We can go and help with this. So, just reach out to support@scandit.com and we're happy to help.
Okay, interesting. Great. Very interesting stuff. Thank you, Christian, for talking to the New Warehouse podcast, and enjoy the rest of your ProMat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast. We're here at ProMat 2019, and we're at McCormick Place. And right now we are at Regal's booth, and we're going to talk to Bruce. He's going to tell us a little bit about what Regal is, what they do, and also what they're exhibiting here at ProMat. So, Bruce, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin.
Definitely. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is Regal? What does Regal do?
Well, Regal is a company. It's owned by Regal Beloit.
Okay.
And I'm actually in a division that's Regal Power Transmission Solutions. And Power Transmission Solutions, as it states, is a lot of solutions. It's bearings and gearing and motors, conveying chains, guide rail, culmination of a lot of different products, gearing as well.
All right, so the gears and stuff that you're talking about, you're referring to ones that would go with the conveyor system, correct?
Correct. Could be, and again, it's combining a lot of different products. Again, motors, there's Leeson, there's Marathon. In terms of gearing, there's Browning, there's Morse. We also have Hub City. Okay. In terms of gearing, and in terms of just a wide array of gearing. Helical bevels, helical worms, worm gearing, right angle gearboxes, a combination of a lot of different things, and again, being able to combine those. Then you get into bearings, mounted bearings, unmounted bearings. Mounted bearings would be Browning. Mounted bearings could be System Class. Mounting bearings would end up being Sealmaster. That's pretty much the name ran. The problem solving. Then you get into McGill. Old companies. You get into cam followers, cam yoke rollers. You get into spherical bearings, those types of things. That's all on the McGill side. Then you get into conveying chains and sprockets, whether it be tabletop chain, modular belt. Then you get into guide rail products. Okay. In terms of guiding product that's used from, in a whole host of applications, a whole host of industries. To some of the newer technologies, in terms of as the industries progress, we actually make a product called ModSort that actually integrates in one of our product lines. It's our 2253 roller top belt. Okay. And a lot of things have actually started taking off, like the Amazons and those types of companies, DHLs, package handling. And in terms of our responses to the industries, things that we've had to come out to try address some of the problems that they're being faced with. Again, it's ModSort. If you guys don't see it.
Yeah, so is that what I'm looking at here in front of me?
Exactly. It's what you see in the background. And I'm going to talk to this too. This will be a little bit easier. Hopefully we can convey that. But again, just the way kind of ModSort started out. Yeah. It was more right angle transfer and diverts. And there's a lot of things in the industry. In terms of safety is a big issue, reliability is a big issue, uptime, those types of things. A lot of times the technologies that are out there, there's a lot of pusher arm technology, a lot of pop-up conveyors. Yeah. Very high complexity level. can end up being safety concerns where you got pinch points and those types of things.
Definitely.
Things activating when people are in place that could end up getting hurt.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get OSHA involved if you don't have to get OSHA involved.
No,
so
never.
Again, trying to work with more safer systems,
Yeah.
right? And that's basically what ModSort does. It started out again as a safe, reliable means of transfer for the version to replace a lot of this. But what's kind of morphed into is because of the capabilities of the ModSort, you can actually do diverts. You can actually stack them end to end. You can do left to right diverts. It can actually be have a front end of a barcode scanner that things can be programmed in, that destinations and bins can be set up that the product would end up going to. You can actually either do it as a static divert, or you could actually do a divert on the fly, and that's what this is actually demonstrating behind us, is basically divert on the fly. So again, this has kind of progressed from ModSort 1.0 to try to address some of the dynamics that are going into the marketplace. There were some things that happened in the industry in terms of like the shipping manufacturers. A lot of times, everybody was shipping in a cardboard box, right?
Yeah.
Well, they went to dim specs that what would end up happening because they were shipping basically in some situations air, right? So if you have a large box and a small item, then what ends up happening is that they're only going to go based upon, say, it's going to end up being weight.
Yeah.
Well, what ends up happening is they get this big box and a small item.
Yeah.
They're not getting the money that they would normally be getting. So there's been a big push to actually go to padded envelopes, whether it be plastic or whether it ends up being
that's
paper.
what you guys are demonstrating
or they're
here.
getting into individual boxes.
Yeah.
With some of the technology that was out there, it was maybe so-so in terms of being able to handle some of those things. Again, that's what ModSort can actually end up doing. So building it into a lot of sortation systems.
Yeah.
And again, that's what this is all set up as a product. It kind of comes through. A barcode will actually be read. A gap will be maintained.
Okay. So now this can go into an existing setup as well?
It could be, exactly. You look at all the functions or all the aspects that a package actually has to go through. I mean, in terms of being, weigh scaled or whether it's being diverted off onto another line.
Yeah.
The ModSort can be configured into an existing system or designed in, from the beginning, and integrated in with a lot of different, a lot of different equipment, so to speak. But this one here, again, the product gets scanned, it's picked up, and what ends up happening is it actually comes back. The product is actually diverted either left or right or positioned.
All right.
And it's all designed to try to get higher throughput instead of actually taking the product at the middle of the conveyor and actually diverting it. It's less time that if it's already justified to the side of that it's going to end up getting diverted to.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of less time, so you can actually get a lot higher throughput. This system too, it's designed to be modular. That if they start out, hey, look, you know what? I need a 4 divert station.
Yeah.
They would end up having this particular module here. If they wanted to go to an 8 module, all they end up doing is they come back in, they click on another 4 divert section, plug it in, it all ties back to the PLC, and they're good to go.
Interesting. So you can kind of add and subtract as you need to.
Right. It's very modular.
Yeah.
It's referred to as modular ModSort. There you go.
There you go. So now the conveyor I'm looking at actually, so it looks like it's a series of balls, right? And that's how the divert takes place?
Some of the other technologies that we were talking about, pop-up diverts and the pusher arms, again, there's a little higher complexity level.
Okay.
You can step down here, we can talk through this.
Sure.
What it is, it's a modular belt. And we have rolling elements that are actually in the belt itself. They have 360-degree rotation.
Yeah.
The ball is not actually on an axis.
Okay.
The rolling elements always have contact to the conveyor itself.
Yeah.
There's actually another conveyor that's actually under this that's driven by an MDR.
Yeah.
That what will end up happening is as the product comes down, a code is given to the MDR to either divert left or divert right.
Okay.
So what will end up happening, this belt actually activates since the belt is contacting this What it ends up doing is it actually diverts the package off.
Very interesting.
Very reliable technology. We actually use a pulse roller.
Yeah.
That's actually in the system itself. We actually have a system, one of the original mod sorts that we have in place, has 26 million cycles in it.
Wow.
26 million.
A lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we haven't replaced the belt. I mean, it's still working like a champ.
Wow. That's great to know. All right. That's great. So, if people want to find out more about Regal and find out more about the mod sort system that we're just talking about, how could they do that?
You'd either go to Regal PTS.
Okay.
Or you could actually go to systemplasssmartguide.com.
All right. Great news. So, Bruce, thank you so much for talking to us on the New Warehouse podcast, and I hope you enjoy the rest of ProMat.
I hope you do, too.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.